problem is. Again, on Breish Samach Gimel, it said, B'shvua rishon mispashtim b'chasada b'kav yomim chachan de perik soy, which is the right line, but only of the Sefirot starting with Chagat. So he says, so now think about it. We have to go back to the drawing. I don't know. I feel like you're way ahead of me with the drawing, so I don't really like to waste your time on those. But I need a little bit of being able to focus on that. Again, he says in the first Rishon, we're sending down on the right line, Chachan de Perikim Soy, but we started Chagat. Later on, he's going to say the Chagat is the same thing as Chesed if you're talking about the right line. So we loaned it as Chesed to Chesed, but the Rashash got another language. Yamin Chachan de Perikim Soy, which is the Chagat, shall call Sfiras Chagat Chagtam as we go across the top. And I'm just going to flash onto, well, I'm not going to flash, I'm not ready. So let's go Beseder Zeh. B'yom Rishon b'chachan the Chagat, that is the Perikim Soy, I keep saying that. The Chesed. B'yom Hasheni b'chachan the Chagat, which is the Perikim Soy again, the Gevura. B'yom Hashlishi b'chachan the Chagat b'Perikim Soy, the Teferes. B'yom Revi b'chachan the Chagat b'Perikim Soy, the Netzach. B'yom HaChamishi b'chachan the Chagat b'Perikim Soy, the Hod. B'yom HaShishi b'chachan, that's the Perikim Soy again, the Yisod. U'b'yom HaShvi b'chachan the Chagat of Malchus. Now he said again that he says that this is, you could change the word Chachan to Chesed because it's not doing the Chochma part. It's just doing from the Zat. Okay, let's go to the next week. He said, B'shvua Hasheni mispashtim b'chasada b'kav small, which is Baga. The Pirkim Sa'oim, which is coming once again from this Chagat, shall call Sfiras Chagat Nehim, if you look at it in Ovi. So each one of them is going to go into one of these places, and into one of these, this left line is the same thing, I think, as Gevura. So that's what he means to say, but B'shvu Hashlishi B'kavim Soy Dati, the Pirkim Soy, which is the Chagat, shall call Sfiras Chagat Nehim. So each one of them gets the Dati. Now you start having in the second week, he says, in the second week, the Nai starts to be mispashed from there. The Kol HaSfiros B'shvu HaRevi B'kav Yomim Chachan, the Pirkim Tachtonim Nai shall call Sfiras Chagat Nehim. So now you're working on the Nai. Now with Chagat is Chesed. Chagat is Chesed. This is Gevura. This is a line of Gevura. I'm just trying, it's hard for me. So B'shvura Hamishi becomes a small Baga on the fifth, it's going to be the left line, the Pirkim Tachtonim, which is the Nai Shalom. B'shvura Shvi become Soy is the Dati, the Pirkim Tachton, the Nai B'shvura Shvi is Pashtim B'malchios, the Pratios. So it goes in all the Malchus of the Chabad Chagda. So Hasfiras beyond. So I think the next one is Malchios the Pratos. The call Hasfiras beyond Rishon, but Malchus the Chesed beyond Mesheni, but Malchus the Gevura b'Chein Chala. So each one of them gets a Malchus, and each one as you go down those lines. Besof Sefer, B'Ayin Besof Sefer. So the end of the Sefer, I have to coordinate a little bit better. You're going to have that. Shechatzagna over there, they have a Tavla. Shall say the Chamshachas HaChasadim v'Chagevuras b'Meshek Kol Yemei HaSfira. Now maybe that will help if I have some time over Shabbos and look at that. So let's go on a little bit more. It's a lot of complicated language. So he says, Ukashana Amek be'inyan nira b'seidah ha'chalukah ha'nizkar, who be'etzem halukas called Sfira, Asara Sfira. So really what you're talking about, every Sfira is divided into 10 Sfiros, Pratios. The Beperika Elyon, which is called Chabad, Heim Shlosh Sfiras Chaga the Pratios. Kav Yamim, Chachans, and then you have the right line, Hu Sfiras HaChachma. So that's really talking about the Sfira Chachma. Kav Small Bago, Hu Sfiras Abina, Kavim Soy Dati, Hu Sfiras Adas. Perikim Soy, now when they talk about the Perikim Soy, which is he put that in every single sentence before, is Chagat. He says, Heim Shlosha Sfiros, those are 3 Sfiros. Chagad hapratius hachan, the Chagad part, which comes from the right line, Sfiras HaChesed. So you have to kind of read that again. He says the Perikim Soy keeps using this idea. It's the same thing, really, he's saying, as Chesed. Because that's his language. He says he calls it the Chagad. Heim Shloshes Sfiras Chagad hapratios. So that's the Chagad, and since you're only dealing with the Chachan Sfiras, so Chachan, when you're dealing with starting in Chagad, you're dealing, the right line of Chagad is going to be Chesed. Baga Sefiras Gevura. So when you do Baga, you're going to be dealing with the Sefiras Gevura. Dati you Sefiras Teferes. A Perik Tachton, now you go down to the lower section, I guess, of where the Mochin are coming in, which is the Nai. Heim Shloshes Sefiras Nai Pratios. These are 9 Sefiros of Pratios. Chachan Sefiras HaNetzach. So it's the right line of Netzach. Baga Sefiras HaHod. Right? So the Chachan of the Nai, the one was represented by the Chachan of the Nai, this is really the Netzach. And the Baga of the Nai is the Hod. And the Dati of the Nai is Yesod. V'tachtechem Omedes al Malchus Apratis Shel Osa Sfira, and then down below that is the Malchus that goes with them. Now this is a very complicated language of the Rashash. It would have been easier for me if he would have said, well, we start with Chesed, and then, and then we're going to do the Chesed, and then we're going to do the Bina, the Gevura, and then we're going to do the middle line, and we're going to go down to the next section. That would be easier for me to hear. But he doesn't say that. Instead, he has his own language. So we have just a little bit more time, so let's try work a little bit more. So according to this, then it comes out, what? The Seder his Pashas Hug, that the Chesadim and the Gevuros al pi the Maran Mishan, who mamash kapashdos divrei Rav b'shar kavonos, it's really the same thing. But we got different names, he said. So the Rashash is using different, if you wonder why it's hard to understand him, he's using different words than we may have seen elsewhere. Like, say, for example, that'll be pashtos divrei Rav, like according to what the Rav is saying. Hamshachahem b'yom harishon the chesed. This is what the Rav says. B'sheni the chesed the gevura, b'shlish the chesed the teferet v'chein l'chala, goes like this. You go down the line, Chagad 9. So he says, over the Marav Mishan, he says, Hamshacha, so we're copying the Rav, I guess that's what he said, Rebbe Elazar, what'd you say, Eliyahu, Mishan, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Mishan. So he said, so the Marav, Mishan, this we're copying him, Hamshacha b'yom rishon, and he calls it the Chagad, the Chesed. Shu Kav Yomim, this light rhyme to Perik and Soy, the middle line of the Sfiras HaChesed. So it's the Chesed of Chesed. Shu Be'etzim, Bechinas Chesed to Chesed. So this is a switch in language. I like the Rav's language. I'm used to the Rav's language. The Baga, the Chagad, the Gevura. So then you're going to go in the Baga, which is going to be the Chagad, the Gevura. It's going to be Gevura. Shu Chesed, the Gevura. There's the Chesed called Gevura, Bechinas Allah, like that. Very complex. I would be much happier if they stuck with the original language, which the languages in the Siddur are Rechovos Nahar, I think. So we have a little bit more. Let's read a little bit more. Be'inyan hamshachos ha'na'asas l'shlosha bechinas malchus b'mei ha'sfira. So he says there's 3 different bechinas of malchus, which I'm not sure I understand that. So he said, B'seder kavana shel ha'sfira, and we're talking about the kavana of the sfira, batzinu, Shena'asim shlosha hamshachos mochin l'malchus. There are 3 different hamshachos. Now for me, I would say, okay, this is the right line, left line, middle line. That would be fine. I don't think he says that. He says, B'kol yom mamshichim mochim l'sheva b'chidas chabad chagdam dezah. So we know that every day, so dezah, I think that's an orach. V'malchus the chagdam hagavonas the malchus. So, I don't know, the Malchus, the Chagdam, which is the Malchus, that goes to Malchus. So again, let me read that again. B'chol yom mamshichim mochim l'sheva b'chidas Chagad Chagdam dezah. Now I'm thinking he means the Chagad Chagdam, the Ora, the the orech. So in other words, each day was ches is one day, gevura is the next day, and you're bringing mamshichim mochim to one of those places. And then the mem, that was just, I don't know why he adds this like this. The hagtam hagavana the malchus is going to malchus too. Number 2. So that's one hamshacha. The hamshacha is going every day to one of the chagdam of, I think, an orech. And the Kavanah, and then also don't forget that the Mem refers to it's going to the Malchus also. That's one way it gets the Malchus. And then after the Mochin go to Zah Mamshichan Malchios, V'chadamos, V'adamos. I thought this word was demus, was like images. But it's because he's talking about different aspects of Malchus. I don't think it was ever really defined well. Hamalchius v'chadumos u'mispar hashemos, in the counting of the names v'chanefashos l'nuk, goes to the nuk. Shehu b'chinas malchus. So again, what is he saying? This is another hamshacha, he says. Hamshachas amochan dezam mamshichan hamalchius v'chadumos u'mispar hashemos v'nefashos l'nuk. So ultimately they go from zah to the nuk, shehi b'chinas malchus. The B'Shvua Shvi on the seventh week, Mamshichim Mochen the Sefirot Tiferes Malchus Dezah. So you have two Sefirot that are going at the same time, Tiferes and Malchus. But Tzarech Lahabin Mi Heimach HaShlosha Bechinos. So you have to really know what are these 3 Bechinos. Malchus, Bechinos of Malchus Amoros that we're talking about. There's a lot to be said about this in the Mefarshim. V'nichtov kam es ha'mahalak ha'pasha be'inyan zeh. So we'll stop here and we'll try to get that. Wow.